4D Pizza with a Removable Slice Acrylic Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish. Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be showing you this really adorable little 4D pizza that has a slice that can be removed out of it and then put back in. This is basically the same concept as my cherry pie video, except for instead of pie, well, instead of cherry pie, it's pizza pie. Yeah, still pie, just a different kind. I love this, and I did actually make this a pepperoni pizza, which is not the kind that I would eat. I normally go for something that's got like a bunch of green olives on it. I love green olives, so I always go that route. I hope you like this, and don't forget to click subscribe to my future videos as well. So I'm going to begin by cutting a triangle out of the tip of the nail. Now you want to try to make sure that you cut the triangle so that it's not so far into the nail that you're going to be hitting the nail bed. So you want to make sure that you cut it beyond that point so that it's not going to be causing any trouble that way. And then I'm going to be gluing some magnets. So I'm going to glue magnets on either side of the nail. So there's the first one, then I'll be adding the second one. Now bear in mind I did cut footage out of this portion of the tutorial because I would say I spent a good 45 minutes gluing magnets, mostly because I am just not good at it. So it took me a long time and lots of wasted glue, and I probably had 3 magnets stuck to me by the end of this whole thing and about a pound of glue. So then put your slice back in where it goes, and then mark on the little slice next to where the magnets are on the nail, and then set magnets next to the magnets on the nail and mark the tops of them. So you want to know what side is up and where the magnets are going to need to go in just a moment. And then remove the slice down away from the other part of the nail. This is, you want to try to keep the magnets as far away from each other as possible until they need to be close together. And so then put a little bit of glue on top of one of the dots on the slice, and then take one of the magnets and then set it on there. At this point, your magnet gluing shouldn't be too difficult, but it's at this next stage that it gets to be quite the headache. So after that first magnet, or the third magnet, the first one on the slice has been glued, wait until it's 100% dry, and then go and try to glue on the second one. If you don't wait until it's 100% dry, it's going to come off. So now I'm going to be building up my pizza just like it was an actual pizza. So I'm going to start by creating my crust, and I have a sort of a beige-ish color for my pizza crust, and I'm going to start just adding that overlay over the top of the entire thing, just to make sure that I've got a base layer of acrylic on top of the whole thing. If you are actually intending on wearing this design, I would probably recommend adding a layer of clear acrylic on first, just so that you have some thickness and some strength, and that you don't really have to worry about that. But as it is, I am going to be making just a very subtle apex with a little bit more of that beige color, but it's quite difficult to form it at this particular juncture, so I did what I could, but it wasn't perfect by any means. And then I'm also going to be adding that crust over the slice, and now I'm going to be adding the little rim around the crust. So the same beige color, just going around, and I placed it bead down and then spread it along the edge of the nail, and then I'm just going to let it set for just a second, just kind of keep making sure that it gets tucked in, and then I'm going to rough it up with the end of my brush. So I'm going to make sure it is not so perfect and smooth, that it is kind of, you know, it's kind of puffy in some areas, kind of got dents in it a little bit, you know, like real pizza dough. And then I'm going to repeat the process for that other side, spread that acrylic out, and then after it's set just enough that's going to hold its shape, kind of rough it up, beat it up, make sure that it's not so perfect and so smooth and artificial looking. Same thing on the other side, place that down, let it set for just a second, and then with the brush, just kind of beat it up. Now there is some monomer in that brush just so that the acrylic doesn't stick to it. I just wanted to mention that. You do need to make sure that your monomers, or that you do have monomer in your brush so your brush doesn't get messed up when you do that. And then do the same thing on the slice. It does take very little acrylic to do that though. Just place a little bead down and then kind of beat it up. So now I'm going to be adding the sauce. So taking very, very wet red acrylic, I'm going to go right along the edge of that little pizza dough edge, and I'm going to be filling it in, and same thing on the slice, just a little bit. And then I took a multicolored beads. This one was white, pastel yellow, orange, and beige. So I took all kinds of colors that are in that cheese family, and I just dipped them all. I quadruple dipped my brush, so I went into several colors of acrylic, and then I set the bead down and just sort of mixed them very gently with the tip of my brush, kind of marbled them a bit just to get that mixed cheese appearance. So I did that all over. Do not cover up all of your red sauce. Make sure that you leave a little bit of sauce showing along the edge. And then do the same for the pizza slice. And then I just took a little bit of a warm shimmery gold color, and I went along the edge of the crust just to make it look like it's a little bit baked, and that too has some color on it. And then I'm going to be adding my toppings. Now for me, I went with pepperoni, as I said. And the reason I went with pepperoni, like I said before, is just because it's iconic and classic. And generally, when you think pizza, even me, I mean, that's like the first thing that comes to my mind. I imagine a pepperoni pizza. So I went with pepperonis just to keep it on that easily recognizable side. But you can add any toppings you like. If I were to actually add all of the toppings that I like on pizza, you wouldn't even recognize it as pizza anymore. It would look like a pile. It would just be a mess. So for my pepperonis, the colors that I used were red, brown, and orange. I used 3 colors, and I did my triple dipping for that too. I first went into the red, and then I grabbed a couple of either the brown or the orange just to make them not so flat and monotone. Also, when you're doing that, each one is going to be slightly different in color, which is going to, again, kind of help you with your realism there, because they're not all going to be the same. You know, they have different distances from the oven. Maybe they're just a little different in color from the beginning, you know, everything like that. So then I'm going to be adding some partial slices of pepperoni along where the slice was taken out, and then kind of imagine where they would line up on your slice and add the same partial slices, or finish off the slices of pepperoni on the slice of pizza. Then I'm going to very carefully file both where the slice fits into the nail and the slice itself, just to make sure that there's no overlapping acrylic that's going to prevent the slice from fitting in nice and snug. So then after you have that, make sure that the slice fits in there good. After you're confident with that, cut off a piece of red thread, glue it underneath the nail with just a tad of nail glue, not too much. If you get too much, it's going to make your thread really stiff. So just enough to hold it into place. Then hold that into place, and then after that part has set, go ahead and cut the thread to the length that you want it to be. If it's too long, you can just remove a little bit or cut off a little bit of that extra thread, as I'm going to do right now, and then glue the other end of the thread to the other end of the slice of pizza. And then after that's all done, I'm going to very carefully brush on just a dab of gel sealer over the cheese and the pepperoni, just to kind of give them that shiny, greasy appearance, but not too much. You don't want it to be super shiny, so use very little and just very carefully brush over it. And after that's cured, you are all done. This nail is very similar to my cherry pie nail that I uploaded a little while ago, a couple months ago. And I'll put links to that one in the description box as well. I have an absolute love of food, any food, so I thoroughly enjoyed making this. And if you make any recreations, share them with me on Facebook and Instagram, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!